go.
All right, so audience, just let me know that you can see me and hear me. If you can see me and hear me, just let me know in the chat. Give me a 1, give me a 7, give me a letter, give me punctuation, whatever it is, and just go ahead and press enter, just so I know that the audio and visual is working, because once we get started here, we don't really want to slow down at all. So if you can see me and hear me, do me a favor, just let me know in the chat right now, so that we don't have to stop in between, and I know that everything is working ahead of time. So if you guys could just let me know in the chat if you can see me and hear me, that would be fantastic. Okay, so I do not see, I see one person. All right, everyone, look, you can learn a lot of information during this next 45 minutes, but I need you to participate. I need you to pay attention. I need you to take notes, and I need this to be interactive. So I will ask one more time. If you can see me and hear me, let me know in the chat right now. Give me a 1, give me a yes, give me a no, give me anything at all, and just go ahead and press enter, just so I know that everything is working properly. Okay, thank you, Evans. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Brian. Everyone else, not even sure what you guys are doing. Anyway, and I see a couple people in the chat right now asking me about Market Hero. That is my premium product, and I don't really want to talk about that right this second. We'll get to that later on in the training, but all questions about Market Hero, which again is my premium program, don't ask that until the end. There's a lot of content to get through, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I have a lot to teach you, and it's very, very relevant to what's going on in the market right now. So let's get right in. Now, how I beat the market and invested just one day a week in 2018. Now, my goal for this training is to show you how I did that, but also teach you how I did that and show you the exact methods that I used last year and am using this year to get the exact same results, and you can too. So here's the deal. We all kind of know that there are two groups of people when it comes to investing in the stock market. And you have this first group, and they have shiny object syndrome. They chase every strategy and tactic, try to day trade, and they buy high and they sell low. Now the second group, they're patient. They're conservative yet consistent. They go for the best resources, the best knowledge, and the best strategies, and they are selective. Now that second group, that is a group that I've been a part of my investing career. And after speaking to the moderators of this awesome event, I know that you too are part of that second group. And because you're a part of that second group, I have something I think is right up your alley, because this is the kind of stuff that we look for. Now, very quickly, who is this Stephen Brooks character? Yes, that is me in the top right corner of the screen. I am a former professional baseball player, and I did play in the Kansas City Royals organization. Now, that was a former life, but since then, I made over $1.4 million of profits in the stock market. I'm an investing coach with clients all over the world, currently 11 different countries, which is a very, very cool experience, who have combined $21 million under management. Now, that doesn't mean that I work with professionals. I work with individual retail investors like you and I, and collectively, all the people that I work with have about $21 million under their belt. I'm also a traveler, a sports fanatic, and a foodie. Now, I have to do this slide. The lawyers make me do this. Everyone kind of knows the deal. This is not a get-rich-quick type of thing. Nothing is get rich quick, okay? Anyone that tells you that is lying, but I think all of you are very, very smart people. You know nothing out there is really get rich quick, okay? This is not effortless earnings. You will need to pay attention. You will need to take notes. You will need to ask questions, and you will need to go out there and execute on these methods following this training. And the truth is, most people don't get any results at all because they sit on their hands and they don't make a change in their life. And just because my methods might seem less risky does not mean that they're risk-free. And finally, my results are not typical. However, I will walk you through some of the methods that I'm using to get great results, but please understand my results are not typical at all, folks. So right into the meat and potatoes, okay? So if you did not have a paper and pen out before, do it now, because we're in full-on teaching mode. You're gonna learn 2 setups today. Now, really quick, what is this setup? Well, imagine you're sitting in your car and you're at a red light. You're not going anywhere, but all of a sudden the light flashes green, okay? That's a setup. So what happens when the light flashes green or the setup reveals itself to us? Well, we drive on through the intersection, okay? That's how simple these methods actually are. And as you can see, this presentation today is very short by design, because we're taking all the hype and all the fluff, and we're completely removing it from this presentation, okay? This is really an instructional training of pure value, and it's kind of how simple my system is. Now, before we get started, folks, I want you all to know these methods, they work hands down. So I need you all to promise me something. I need you all to promise me that after I share these secrets with you, that you will go out there and take action on them immediately following this training, okay? So give me a 5 in the chat if you promise to take action on these methods immediately following this training, okay? I want to see who the action takers are on this training. So if you promise to take action with what I am going to be teaching you for the next 45 minutes, give me a 5 in the chat right now. Okay, so we only have one action taker on the training right now. That's okay. Byron, I will speak directly to you for the rest of this training then. Okay, setup number 1, folks, and I call this the weekly setup. Now, here's a current student of mine by the name of Matt. Now, Matt came to one of my trainings back in December 2017, so a little bit over a year and a half ago, or right around a year and a half ago. But he came to one of my trainings back in December 2017, and he was interested in learning how to make money in the market as a ways to achieve financial freedom. Now, financial freedom means a lot to many different people, but for what it meant from this young man was getting rid of his $55,000 of student debt. So he came to the training and we taught him this weekly setup, which is the exact same thing I'm going to share with you in about a minute's time. And it went out there in all of 2018 and all he did was just this weekly setup. So I actually saw him on the subway the other day and I said, hey, Matt, how did you do in 2018 with the weekly setup? And he said, in 2018, my first trading year ever, I had a positive return and dominated the market. I can't believe I made money in that nasty bear market. So before this training, actually this morning, I went back and I actually ran the numbers myself, because many of you probably don't know who I am, but one of the things you'll find out very, very quickly is I don't like to give anything that is not 100% accurate. So I went back this morning and I figured out exactly how he did last year just by following this one weekly setup. And it turns out Matt actually had a 102% return in 2018. Pretty good results, right? So how did he do it? Well, here's the deal. When breaking down stock market returns, it turns out that there are days of the week that are consistently profitable and also beat the market. Now, in order to locate this profitable setup, we must figure out what days they are. And the good news for you is we have. So in breaking down the profit and loss by day in the overall stock market, we have found a winner. Now, in the chat right now, let me know which day of the week do you think beats the overall market. Is it a Monday? Is it a Tuesday? Is it a Wednesday? Is it a Thursday? Or is it a Friday? Because one of those days does beat the market. Let me know in the chat right now which day of the week you think it is. Okay, so I see Monday, I see Wednesday, I see Wednesday, I see Friday, I see Thursday, I see Tuesday, I see Friday, I see Monday, I see Wednesday again. Okay, very, very cool. Here we go. Now, what are we looking at here on the left-hand side of the screen? We're looking at S&P 500 returns from 2000 to the beginning of 2019. So we're looking at 19 years worth of data. Now, what is the S&P 500? The S&P 500 is an index, a basket of 500 US-based stocks from many different sectors. So it's a very good overall summary of what is going on in the stock market. That's from 2000 to the beginning of 2019. Now, the black line, that is your stock market or S&P 500 returns from 2000 to 2019. And then with the colors, we have the red line, which is Tuesday. We have the blue line, which is Thursday. We have the green line, which is Wednesday. We have the gray line, which is Monday. And we have the gold line, which is Friday. So very, very simple, folks. At this point, it's very clear to me, and I know it's clear to you, that since 2000, investing on Tuesdays only would have resulted in an investor beating the overall market. Okay, folks, that's it. That's the setup. So how do we take advantage of that? Well, what we're going to do is at 3:59 p.m. Eastern time every Monday. So before the market closes on Monday, and the market closes at 4 p.m. Eastern time, right? So before the market closes, we're going to log into our online brokerage account. We're going to type in these 3 letters, SPY, and we're going to click those big green buttons to buy as many shares of that stock as we want or can. That's how we get in. Okay, well, how do we get out? Well, what we're going to do is, before the market closes the next day on Tuesday, we're going to log back into our online brokerage account. We're going to type in these 3 letters again, SPY, and we're going to click those big red buttons to sell all the shares that we bought the day before. That's how we get out. Let's repeat that one more time, folks, okay? Because Tuesday has beaten the overall market over the last 2 decades, at the end of the day on Monday, we're going to buy. At the end of the day on Tuesday, we're going to sell. And since this has worked again for the last 2 decades, we're going to repeat that, right? So we're going to set up these weekly reminders on our phones, on our calendars. We're going to add sticky notes to our computers. But let me ask you a question right now, folks, beginner or pro. Can you do the weekly setup, right? Can you log in at the end of the day on a Monday? And can you type in those 3 letters and can you buy? And at the end of the day on Tuesday, can you sell? Because if you had done that since 2000, you would have beaten the overall market. And I see a couple people in the chat right now saying, well, Stephen, how does this work in a bear market? Well, the latest bear market that I know of is the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. If you take a look at my screen right now and specifically take a look at the black line, which is that S&P 500, in 2008 and 2009, the market was selling off very, very hard. And in fact, at one point, it was down more than 50%. But feast your eyes on that red line, folks. That is Tuesday, as the market was selling off very, very hard in 2008 and 2009. In fact, Tuesday was doing the complete opposite. It was rallying very, very hard. And we remember these headlines from last year because 2018 was not a very straightforward year. Stocks plunge as market enters correction territory. Dow plunges 1,175 points. Worst point decline in history. In fact, that week, which is the week of February 5th last year, the market was down over 5%. But wouldn't you know, Tuesday was up 1.74%. Or the week of March 19th, even worse, S&P 500 down 6%, but Tuesday is the only green day, folks, okay? But that's not all, because while, yes, Tuesday does beat the overall market, within this, there are a few other things you might be able to do, right? Because Tuesday, check, beats the market. Thursday doesn't beat the market, but is still quite profitable. Wednesday looks like kind of a break-even day, and Friday's just a really, really, really bad day. Now, if we think about how this would have worked out for you this week, if we look back about 48 hours ago on Tuesday, this week, the S&P 500 was up 25.71 points. So if you follow, just like we're saying right here, and you bought SPY, you would have made about $260 per 100 shares that you bought. But there are other things that you can do to take advantage of this information, okay? You could have bought calls because with an $112 risk or investment this Tuesday, you would have made $195. Or if you risked $560, you would have made $977. Or if you risked $1,120, you would have made $1,955. So yes, buying calls this week with this weekly setup turned out to be more than a double on your risk. Now, buying call spreads, you could have also done that as well because you could have risked $50 to make $50 just 2 days ago. You could have risked $500 to make $500 just 2 days ago, and you could have risked $1,000 to make $1,000 just 2 days ago. Now, this isn't just hyperbole. This isn't just hypothetical because my members crushed it this week. You can see from David, he says, this was the easiest 24 hours of my entire 25-year trading career. I bought when you said, sold when you said, and made the most amount of money I ever had in a 24-hour period. I'm going to take extra cash, and I'm going to take the cash and take my wife out for a nice lobster dinner this weekend. Stephen, thank you again. I'm finding Market Hero to be indispensable to me. Now, that was just one of my members. Here's another member by the name of Kenneth. He says, Stephen, this was so simple, and it was exactly like you said. I bought on Monday PM and sold on Tuesday PM and made a grand total of $1,890 while only risking $250, which may not be a lot to you, but is huge for me and my family. This is absolutely amazing. Keep them coming. So folks, what I'm going to go ahead and do right now is I'm going to go ahead and take a pause here to see if there are any questions at all specifically on this weekly setup. And if you have any questions right now on this weekly setup, do me a favor, pop them into the chat, and I'll be happy to answer a couple questions on this weekly setup before we move on to the next bit of content. So I'm just going to sit over here, take a little bit of a swig of water, and if you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat right now, and I will absolutely answer them before we get to the next bit of content. Question from Andre. Do you buy calls expiring the next Friday? So the answer is no. Think about it this way, Andre. Let's work through this together. So let's say you have a trade like the one you see in front of you, where you want to buy at the end of the day on Monday and sell on the end of the day on Tuesday, all right? So ask yourself that again. Think about that one more time. Which expiration do you want to be in? You want to be in the expiration, right, that expires the closest to the end of the trade, okay? The closest to the end of the trade. So wouldn't that be the Wednesday expiration, Andre? Very cool. Okay, Evan says, I can't wait to get started. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Last week was great, but what is your loss percentage? So over the last 20 years or so, Pete, this does have about a 70% win rate. But again, win-loss percentage is a lot less important to me than overall P&L, right? Because even if you only win 1 out of 10 times and you still make money, again, in this game, it's your bottom line. It's, are you making money or not? So that's really only that matters. While it does have a 70% win rate, that is much less important to me than the fact that, hey, this is really, really profitable, okay? What is the minimum shares of SPY can someone buy on Monday PM to start? Well, Byron, here's the deal. On SPY, for example, you'll have to check with your broker to see how much margin that is required from you to go ahead and hold stock overnight. However, with things like buying calls and buying call spreads, like you see on the screen in front of you, you don't have that issue, and it's significantly less expensive and significantly less capital intensive to hold those type of positions, okay? Very, very cool. Very, very cool. And again, Andre, you want to go ahead and do these in that Wednesday expiration. And the reason you want to do those in that Wednesday expiration is because they expire closest to the end of this trade, right? So if you start to get to that Friday expiration, there are too many days, right? There are too many extra days in there, and you don't want to have to deal with that. Okay, does that make sense? Cool. All right, very, very cool. Very, very cool. All right, that was setup number 1. That was that weekly setup. It looks like you guys like that a lot. That's fantastic. But here's setup number 2, and I call this the trend setup. Now, here's a current student of mine by the name of Bob, and I met Bob years ago. We're talking like 7, 8 years ago through a former baseball players alumni network. And as you can see here, he's a Chicago Cubs fan. Now, Bob was interested in learning how to make money in the markets as a ways to supplement his income. Now, Bob was a mechanic at that point and had not gotten an increase in his salary in over 10 years. So he wanted to learn how to invest, but he didn't know if he had enough time to devote to it. So I said, hey, Bob, let's meet on a weekend for like an hour. I'll do it for absolutely free. I'll show you a couple things. And if you like what you see, great. Let's set up some sessions for a couple weeks, months down the road. And if you don't, no harm, no foul. So he said, okay. So we met on a Saturday morning. Again, this is like 7, 8 years ago, for example. 7, 8 years ago, we met on a Saturday morning. The first half an hour of this hour-long session was spent actually setting up his first ever online brokerage account. The second half was teaching him this trend setup, which I'm going to be sharing with you in about 30 seconds time. So he said, you know what, Stephen, you're right. It does require me to only look at the market just 1 day a week, and it's something I can wrap my head around. Let's definitely set up some sessions for later on in the year, and then we'll go from there. So Bob went off. We taught him that, but the problem was Bob never showed up for any of the other sessions that we have set up together, and I couldn't believe it. I was crushed, folks. I was literally crushed. I couldn't believe that he had blown me off, that he didn't want to meet ever again. I was doing the trend setup. It was working for me, and I had so much more where that came from. I couldn't believe that he had blown me off. So finally, like a year, 18 months, 2 years later, I don't really remember the exact details, I get an email from Bob, and he goes, hey, Stephen, I'm really sorry for blowing you off. I never should have done that, but the reality is I never needed to meet with you ever again because I made 41% investing in the last year just using the trend setup. You know, folks, give me a 41 in the chat right now if you would like to make 41% on your investments in the next 12 months, all right? Let me see all those people that want those type of returns. Very cool. Very, very cool. Peter, Andre, Byron, Larry, very cool. Awesome stuff. Very, very cool. All right, so here's the deal, folks. So in breaking down stock market returns, it turns out that there are weeks in every year that are consistently profitable and have very, very minimal drawdowns, which is really cool. Now, in order to locate this profitable setup, we must figure out what weeks they are. And the good news for you is we have. So in breaking down the profit and loss by week in the overall stock market, we have found a winner. So now what are we looking at on the screen? Well, we're looking at, again, S&P 500 returns, but this time from 1990 to the beginning of 2019. So 29 years worth of data here. Now it's broken down by two ways on this graph. The first is the gray line, right? So if you bought the S&P 500 on January 2nd, 1990, you would have made a bunch of money, lost half. Made a bunch of money, lost half. Made a bunch of money, and then who knows exactly where we go from here, but we are sitting at all-time highs. Now the orange line, and do not worry if you don't understand this the first time I say it, I'm going to repeat this ad nauseum. But the orange line is weekly returns in the S&P 500 that follow a drawdown of between 0.5% to -3%. So we went back in the data back to 1990, and if there was a week that was down between 0.5% and -3%, we would buy and hold the next week, okay? That's what it is. No big deal. We will definitely go over that a few times, folks, okay? So here's the deal. It's clear to me, and I know it's clear to you, that since 1990, okay, that since 1990, investing in weeks following a drawdown of between 0.5% to -3% would have resulted in an investor getting market gains without any of the major losses. Okay, folks, that's the setup. So how do we take advantage of it? Well, what we're going to do is at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time every Monday, we're going to check and see if the previous week in the S&P 500 was down between 0.5% and -3%. And if it was, we're going to type in those same letters again, just SPY, and we're going to click those big green buttons to buy as many shares of that stock as we want or can. Well, that's how we get in, folks. Nothing too crazy there. How do we get out? Well, if we do end up buying on a Monday morning, then we're going to hold for the rest of the week, and we're going to sell before the week is out or before the market closes on Friday. Okay, let's repeat that one more time, folks. At 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, we're going to buy as many shares of SPY as we can if it was down between 0.5% to -3% the week before, right? And if we do buy on a Monday morning, we're going to hold that position until the end of the week. And again, folks, like I mentioned before, this has worked very, very well for the last 3 decades. So we're going to repeat that. We're going to set up these weekly reminders on our phones, on our calendars. We're going to add these sticky notes to our computers. Let me ask you a question right now, folks, beginner or pro. Can you do the trend setup, right? On a Monday morning, can you check and see what the market did the previous week? Can you type in those 3 letters? And can you buy? And at the end of the week, can you sell? Because if you had done that since 1990, folks, since 1990, you would have gotten market returns without most of the major losses. And drum roll, please, returns of over 1% per week. And in fact, here's how the numbers actually break down. Over the last 30 years in the S&P 500, the average percent gain per week has been about up 0.20%. Not bad. However, when you compare that to the average percent gain per week following our trend setup, that was up 1.21% on average, so 6 times greater return. And on top of that, over the last 30 years, the largest 1-week loss in the S&P 500, down 9.03%. But if we compared that to the largest 1-week loss in the trend setup, much, much, much less. And I see, again, a bunch of people in the chat asking about, well, hey, how does this work in when the market is crashing? Well, here's the last time the market crashed really, really badly. Again, that financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. That gray line is representative of the overall market. So as that was selling off and selling off very hard, not only was our trend setup not selling off, but it was actually profiting very, very well in the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. But that's not all, folks, okay? Last year, in 2018, we saw the trend setup occur 9 times, okay? 9 times. We had 7 winners. We had 2 losers. We had an average return per week of over 1% for a total of 9.27% positive return. And if we compared that to the S&P 500, which was down 6.24%. And again, can anyone tell me in the chat the last time the S&P 500 was down between 0.5% and -3% for a week? Can anyone tell me in the chat right now when that was? Okay, it was last week, folks. Okay, it was last week. So since the trend setup is a go this week, since the open on Monday, the S&P 500 is up about 30 points. That's pretty good. And again, we can take advantage of that. Yes, we can go ahead and buy the stock. And if we bought 100 shares of SPY, we'd be up about 300 bucks so far. But we could also buy calls, right? Because this week, if you risked 150, you'd already be up $120. If you risk 750, you'd be up almost $600. And if you risk 1,500, you'd be up almost $1,200. So yes, you can go ahead and just buy calls like that, or you could also buy call spreads. Because so far this week, on a $50 risk, you'd be up 50 bucks. On a $500 risk, you'd be up $500. On a $1,000 risk, you'd be up $1,000. Again, that is not just hyperbole, folks. So far this week, some of my members of my Market Hero program are crushing it with this trend setup. Take a look at Scott. He says, I am doing amazing. I am making over $1,500 so far this week. I can't believe the timing. It was like right at the open, everyone was buying and they haven't stopped, which has been good for me. He. That was one of my members. Here's another one by the name of Martha. She says, Stephen, I told you on the last webinar I attended a few months ago that I thought the trend setup was too good to be true. But sure enough, the first time I tried it this week, I made over $4,300 profits. For someone who's been in the markets for decades, I just cannot believe it went exactly as I hoped it would. That literally never happens. Okay, folks, what I'm going to do again is I'm going to briefly pause to answer a couple questions on this trend setup before moving forward to the next bit of content. So if you have any questions, go ahead, pop them into the chat right now, and I'll be happy to help with any questions that you all have specifically on this trend setup. First question comes from Evans. What BBN out long term? Not sure what that is, but if you want to rephrase that, I'll be happy to answer your question then. What expiration would you use on this one? Well, think about it, okay? So if we're going to do something that requires us to get into a position on Monday morning and hold till the end of the day on Friday, right? Wouldn't the most logical thing be to use the expiration which expires closest to the end of the trade, namely the Friday expiration? New question in the chat. What about long term? Could you go into a little bit more detail on your question? I'm not entirely sure what you're asking here. Question from Andre. Which SPY spread would you select? So, well, here's the deal. Right here we have the buying of the stock, we have buying calls, and we have buying call spread. So the only spread that we've spoken about, Andre, would be buying call spreads, which have all so far this week had 100% returns, which is an excellent one. So just looking at that, boom, looks good to me. Yeah, and that question about long-term, not sure what the question is, but if you want to go ahead and rephrase that, I'm happy to answer that question for you. Very, very cool. Okay, very, very cool. Stephen, why are you giving this to us for free? So here's the deal. There's a couple things. Number one, I really like teaching people. Number two, it would take probably tens and tens of billions of dollars all doing the exact same thing at the exact same time as us for this to become somewhat saturated, if you will. And then the last thing I'll say is I have so much more where this came from, it would kind of make your head spin. Question from CW, at the money call option. CW, if you're okay, we're going to do a much longer Q&A at the end. I'll be able to spend a lot more time with you on that. So if you're okay asking that at the end and then much longer Q&A, that would be awesome. Let me know in the chat if that's okay with you, CW. Cool. Now, really quickly, just so you know that we're still moving down the right direction and everyone's learning and everyone's having a lot of fun, give me a 1 in the chat if you've enjoyed this training so far, right? Give me a 1 in the chat if you like this training, if you learned something new, if maybe you had an aha moment, if maybe you're starting to think, well, man, maybe there's a different way to go about this. If you fall under any of those categories, give me a big fat 1 in the chat right now. So I see Andre, I have Evans, I have Byron, I have Leslie, I have CW that goes 1+, I have Michael, I have Peter, I have James, I have Akbar. Very, very cool. I have Brian, I have Leslie, I have Patty, very, very cool. I have Rachel, fantastic. Okay, there's a lot of people learning. That's good stuff. I like it, I like it, I like it. Very, very cool. Okay, so let's recap where we are at this point. We first talked about the weekly setup, which talked about the idea that over the last 20 years, Tuesday has outperformed the overall market. So the way we take advantage of that is getting long exposure at the end of the day on Monday and holding till the end of the day on Tuesday. And that was an incredibly profitable trade just this week. And then we talked about the trend setup, which talked about getting long exposure to the S&P 500 following a drawdown of between 0.5% to -3%. And not only has this beaten the market over the last 30 years, but at the same time, it's crushing it this week, folks, because the trend setup is to go this week. Now, at the beginning of this training, I promised you that you would learn new ideas that would start making you money immediately, whether you are a beginner or a pro. So I have to ask you, folks, what's our time together valuable? Right? Did you enjoy this training? Do you understand now how I am able to do what I do in the stock market and some of my students are able to get big time results? And can you see how these setups will allow you to profit immediately, whether you're a beginner or a pro? And do you see how little time and knowledge is really needed to invest? Now, I have complete confidence in you, okay? I have complete confidence in you, and you all promised me that you were going to go out there and you were going to take action on these methods immediately following this training, okay? You all promised me that you were going to go ahead and do that. And while we did learn two very, very profitable strategies, there's only so much we can go over in about 30 minutes together. Imagine spending more time together, you and I, how much more valuable that would be to you. Now, in the beginning, I also promised you an opportunity to join me in taking your next steps together by joining our Market Hero community, which is designed to give you the exact step-by-step formula for crushing in the market and achieving mountains and mountains of success. Because here's the deal, folks, okay? The weekly setup has beaten the market over the last 20 years, crushing it so far in 2019. The trend setup beat the market over the last 30 years, crushing the market in 2019. And these are only the tip of the iceberg, folks, because I have so much more where that came from. And Market Hero is designed to get you results big and fast. So why wouldn't you consider something that would practically guarantee your success? Which is why it's my pleasure to extend an exclusive invitation to stock market dominance by becoming a Market Hero today. Now, over the next 5 minutes, I'm going to go into depth about what Market Hero is, and if you think it's right for you, I want you to get it. And if you don't, I don't want you to get it. Plain and simple. Does that sound fair to you? Very, very cool. Okay. So if you want to achieve true financial freedom or supplement your current income or take parts of the profits that I am getting of up to 10.37% per trade, and you want to do it all by following a proven, modular, step-by-step framework that will leave no guesswork, even if you are a complete beginner, folks, then Market Hero is specifically for you. So here's what's finally going to work for you. So the first thing you're going to get on my profit crushing setup designed to make you a lot of money, just like setup number 3, which is profitable 91% of the time for an average of 10.75% ROI per trade, and this is a once a month trade. TC made 52% overnight on this one trade, which was $1,700 for him. Ron says this is a very easy trade to do with very limited market exposure. He made $900 less commission, and he's super happy. Or Ben says, I more than made up my membership with this trade, and he's looking forward to more good stuff. We also have setup number 7, the 15-minute window each trading day since 2009 that is responsible for 49% of all market returns. Now, one of my current students by the name of Lee, excuse me, last April, he tried this as his only method. So he logged in his account at the exact same time every single day, bought the same stock, held it for 15 minutes, and sold it 15 minutes later. And he made a $4,000 profit alone just by investing 15 minutes a day. Now, on top of that, we have setup number 14, which is the 8 days of the year responsible for 36% of all market gains, and we profit in less than 24 hours. John made 42% in one day. Silvio made $2,800 in one day. Sayaja made 28.4% in one day. Now, we have about 7-8 dozen of these methods, and what's really cool about these is not only are they going to make you a lot of money, they're going to save you a ton of time and money by getting rid of those newsletters, those books, that financial advisor, okay, those newspapers, those things that never made you a dime at all in the first place, okay? Our average Market Hero member saves $213 a month when they invest in Market Hero because they get to get rid of all this stuff that never made them a dime in the first place. Now, what's also very, very important to me is that everyone can participate. Every single one of our methods works for every single type of account. Cash accounts, retirement accounts, margin accounts, big accounts, small accounts, doesn't matter. You can participate with that no matter what type of account you actually have. So here's the deal. You're going to get those profit crushing setups like I just showed you. They're going to make you a lot of money. Now you're also going to get automation tools, which are going to show you how to allow the system to work for you without you having to actually click the button yourself. You're also going to get my done for you tools and cheat sheets and my morning game plan, which I want to go over very, very quickly. So here's one of our cheat sheets. We have a couple of them. It asks you 3 questions about any stock that you're looking at, and depending on your answers to those 3 questions, it will reveal to you which one of our methods is the right trade to make at that time. So when you think about this cheat sheet, like imagine you're sitting at home, right, and you're investing all by yourself. With these cheat sheets, it's really like I am standing over your shoulder telling you exactly what I would do. It completely takes the guesswork out of which setup to follow. It's a step-by-step handheld as investing comes. Now, if you're like me, every single morning you wake up, your hair's on fire, you don't even know where you are, you don't even know what day of the week it is, okay? But if you're also like me, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna flip over and you're gonna take a look at your phone. And where you're gonna get from me every single morning is a morning game plan. So think about your favorite sporting teams, right? Manchester United, the New York Yankees, the Dallas Cowboys. They never go into a sporting event blind, because they have a game plan, okay? I want you to have a game plan each and every day of how to attack the market. And my members absolutely love this. David, a couple days ago, said, you're killing it. I took 14 stocks out of the game plan. 4 are closed today with more than 50% profit targets and 10 are still running at the green zone. Am I too greedy? I see money laying down on the floor waiting to be picked up thanks to you. And that was a couple of days ago. Here's a few minutes ago. He says, you know, following your morning game plan, I have normally 10 to 14 open positions, while almost every day, 2 to 3 are closed as a winner with 50% profits. Today's winners, Avago, Chipotle, Disney. This is absolutely amazing. I don't want to show off, but really, this is very easy to do. David has a game plan every single day, and I want you to have that same game plan too, okay? So you're gonna get those profit crushing setups, those automation tools, my done for you tools and cheat sheets, and my morning game plan, but that's not enough. I wanna do this together. I wanna guarantee your success. So for that, for example, you're gonna be part of my live weekly webinar trainings, okay? Live every week with me, okay? Every week with me, not with someone on my team, not from one of my friends, not from one of my traders, live every week with me. And if once a week is not good enough for you, you'll also be part of my private Facebook mastermind group, which is a 24/7 access for you, me, and all of my Market Hero members. So if you have a question about a trade, literally the rest of the day today or tomorrow, you can ask in the Facebook group or you can email me and I can literally get in your account with you and help figure it out. So the total value of Market Hero is $15,583, but as you guys know, I'm not going to charge you $15,583 to get access to the weekly live trainings, to the automation tools, right, to the studies. But I have a question for you. What if I did charge you $15,583? Would it be worth it, you know? If all it did was make you very profitable by doing trades just 8 days of the year, would it be worth it? Yeah, get to take off the other 357 days. Of course it'll be worth it. You know, if all it did was supplement your income by making a few extra $1,000 every month for the rest of your life in a semi-automated fashion, would it be worth it? Of course it would, because you make that investment back in a couple months and everything on top of that is just gravy. If all it did was by utilizing my daily reminders, allow you to never worry about your finances ever again and allow you to spend more time with your family and travel, would it be worth it? Come on, folks, who doesn't want that kind of lifestyle? Of course it would be worth it, because you see the total value of Market Hero is $15,583, but everything in Market Hero is the exact step-by-step blueprint for how I was able to make over $1.4 million of profits in the stock market, right? It kind of puts it into a little bit different perspective now, doesn't it? Because Market Hero is not going to be a cost. It's an investment. You see, whether we like to admit it or not, the people around us who are the most successful are the ones who continuously invest in themselves. They invest in their mind, in their skill, in their craft, and in their education, because they know that the investments that they make in themselves are the ones that generate the greatest returns. Now, don't just take it from me, take it from the wealthiest, most successful investor ever, Mr. Warren Buffett. He says the most important investment you can make is in yourself. And we all know that he's right. So you can see why it would be a steal at $15,583, okay? But this is a $5,000 offer for the general public and for folks who are outside of this training with me right now. However, you can get started today for lifetime access for one lifetime investment of just $9.97. So open up a new browser tab, head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP and invest in yourself today, folks. Now, really quickly, this is $9.97 for lifetime access. So you invest once and you're in for life. Okay, this is not an auto rebill. This is not a subscription service. There are no other hidden fees or costs. We're not going to randomly charge your card or credit card for things in the fine print. This is a one-time payment, folks. Let me repeat that again. This is not a subscription. We will not charge your card a year later. This is a one-time payment. There are no other hidden fees or costs, okay? Now, the results that we do get with some of our Market Hero members are truly, truly amazing, okay? This week, literally yesterday, I got this email from Kenneth, right? He's up $87,000 this week alone. You can see I'm up for the week $87,190, but I'm still holding, okay? That is truly, truly amazing, okay? Or what about Kyle? He says, if this continues over the course of the year, I will actually have a retirement plan, so I will be able to supplement my Social Security income. I've missed just 2 of your trainings because of personal appointments, but I'm amazed that someone so successful teaches with such genuine passion. I salute you. You are the best. Thank you, and thank you again. Now, I kind of have this saying with my company, if I can't make you money, then I don't deserve yours. So for that, we have a very interesting 2-part money back guarantee, and it goes like this. The first part is, I ask you to learn and try 5 of our methods, and you can try them on paper money or you can try them on real money. And if they don't work out for you in the first 30 days, just let my support team know, and once they verify that information, we'll give you your money back, no questions asked. And the second part goes like this. Once we verify that those methods did not work out for you, not only will we refund your entire investment, but I will also write you a personal check for $500 cash for wasting your time. So think about it as a 150% money back guarantee. And what do you get with all that? Those profit crushing setups designed to make you a lot of money. Automation tools designed to save you a ton of time. Done for you tools and cheat sheets and a morning game plan so you know how to attack the market every single day. And then live every freaking week, weekly webinar trainings, okay? Not by somebody on my team, live with me, live. And every day over email or in our private Facebook mastermind group. So you might be asking yourself, why should I join now or should I join today? Well, when you invest today and today only, folks, okay, you will get my profit screaming notifications. This is a $10,000 value delivered directly to your phone and email. So you don't just get the playbook, you get every single play that I am running in real time. Now in 2018, we did have some substantial results. As you can see on the screen, very, very high win rate, very, very high ROI per trade. So this is my trade alerts. Every single time I trade, you will know. And as I'm sure you can tell by now, this bonus alone is worth well what your investment in Market Hero is today. It cannot get any more done for you, but I'm going to sweeten the deal even more for you. When you invest today and today only, you will also get a one-on-one consultation with me. So again, so on top of the live trainings every week, right, my trade alerts, all my methods, you're also going to get a one-on-one phone consultation with me. You and I are going to get on the phone and we're going to map out a plan to take you from point A to point B in the shortest amount of time. Okay, so everyone else walking down the street has got to pay $997 for a one-on-one consult with me. It could be yours today free when you invest in Market Hero. So go ahead, open up a new browser tab, head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP and invest in yourself today. Remember, this is for lifetime access, folks. This is not a subscription. This is not an automatic rebill. This is a one-time investment, and we will not randomly charge your card, and there are no other hidden fees, folks, okay? And I absolutely stand by all of that. Now, if you live in the United States, we've done you even one better. When you go to stephenbrooks.co/VIP and you click on the blue button that says pay with PayPal or check out with PayPal, whatever it says, right? If you decide to check out via PayPal credit, again, this is only for our US customers only, PayPal will give me your $997 investment today, and then you will enter into a payment plan with payments as low as $27 a month. So if you live in the United States and you want to get started today and pay later, you can do that with PayPal credit. Now, there's a really good book out there by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I don't know if any of you have read it, but it's a really good book on personal finance. It's been a New York Times bestseller for years. And in the book, one of the things the author talks about is the phrase, I can't afford it, or it just costs too much. Like, I know this stock would provide me a 50% return on my investment, but I just can't afford it, okay? And Robert Kiyosaki, he asked a much better question. He asked, how can I afford it? He says the statement, I can't afford it, it shuts down your thinking, right? But by asking the right questions, like how can I afford it, your mind opens up and starts looking for answers, and it becomes much more resourceful, right? Here's the deal. The successful people like you and I, we don't think about how much it costs. We think about ROI. We think about how much money that's going to make us. So think about it, folks. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? I believe you can either make money or you can make excuses. If you want to make money, then get all the help you need. If you want to make excuses, then don't complain. Don't complain about why you're stuck. Don't complain about why you aren't getting the results that you want. Don't complain because you've hesitated long enough, folks. Today is the day. You've hesitated and waited long enough, and today is the day that you say it is my time. I'm going to do it because my future is worth it, my family is worth it, and I am worth it. So again, if you want to achieve true financial freedom or supplement your current income or take part in the profits that I am getting of up to 10.37% per trade, and you want to do it all by following a proven, modular, step-by-step framework that will leave no guesswork, even if you're a complete beginner, then Market Hero is specifically for you, folks. So that's it, folks. We have 20-minute countdown here, but it's actually only about 5 minutes here. So I'm going to take a swig of water. If you have any questions right now, feel free to pop them into the chat, and I'm happy to hang around for the next about 5 minutes or so to answer any and all your questions. So I'm going to take a swig of water, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to pop them into the chat. If you're having any difficulty whatsoever, how do I add this to the chat? Let me see here. Panelists, I don't know. If you're having any questions at all whatsoever or any issues investing in Market Hero today, email me at support@stonybrookssecurities.com, okay? If you're having any difficulties or for some reason you can't invest today, email me at support@stonybrookssecurities.com. I prefer that you give me your phone number so I can give you a buzz directly after this training. But again, folks, lifetime access. This is not a subscription. This is not an automatic rebill. We're not going to charge your card randomly for God knows what. That's not the deal here. It's one investment and you're in for life. You get all my trades as I'm doing them in real time. You get my profit crushing setups. You get my automation tools. All of it's backed by our 30-day money back guarantee plus $500 cash. Weekly live trainings, private group. And when you invest today and today only, folks, I can't be more clear. Today and today only, you will get my trade alerts. You will get a one-on-one consult with me. And instead of having to pay $5,000, it can be yours for just one lifetime investment of $997, okay? So I'm gonna take a swig of water. Let's see the questions in the chat right now. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Here's one. Do I understand the SPY options expire every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week? Thanks. Yes, Andre. SPY options expire every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yes, absolutely. Very, very cool. Stephen, what is your favorite setup? My favorite setup is what I call the set method. I don't have enough time to get into it right now, but the methods that I showed you on this training right now, Patricia, work really, really well over the last 2-3 decades and are crushing it literally this week. So very, very exciting, all that stuff. Very, very cool. 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 Stephen, if I don't invest in the course, can I get it later, when, and how? So here's the deal, Michael. Number one, this is not a course. This is not a course, okay? You can't become a pro at anything because you buy a course or you read a book or watch a couple of videos. You can't become a pro at anything, at literally anything with that information. The only way you can become a pro is if you're able to work with people in some sort of a mentorship type position, be able to ask questions and get answers whenever you need them to kind of fill in the gaps of what you're learning. All right, so that's what Market Hero is. You get you get all the methods, you get all the studies, you get the cheat sheets, you get the blah, 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 but then you also get me live every week, right? You get me in the Facebook group, you get me over email and support, and you also see the trades that I am running in real time. So one of the reasons why we're able to offer such a very, very what is seemingly over the top money back guarantee is because we have a ridiculously high success rate. We've only had 3 members ever who have not made their investment back by the end of month 3. So one of the reasons I can give you such a crazy money back guarantee is because this has worked for a lot of different people in many different countries, with jobs, without jobs, from many different backgrounds. The only thing that has been the difference between those that work really well for and then those that doesn't work for is the people that it works really well for are the ones that actually take action. They invest in the program and they educate themselves and they seriously reap the rewards. Okay, so I don't see any other questions in the chat right now. That's totally fine. One of the questions in the chat is this free? No, this is not free. This is $997 today and today only. It's one lifetime investment. So it's not like, again, a year from now, you're going to get an email from me that says, hey, Johnny, you got to spend more money. You got to pay me more money to maintain your membership. That's not the case whatsoever. This is a one lifetime investment. All I ask is that you want to take action today. You want to achieve your financial goals, and we will get there together. You just got to make a little bit of investment, invest in yourself, all that fun stuff. So let's see. I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to go ahead, kick it back to the moderators, and I'm going to go ahead and start working with my Market Hero members the rest of the day.